So you're thinking of trying out PiNet. There's a few things you will need to get started. First, you'll need a Raspberry Pi. All Raspberry Pi models with an Ethernet port are supported. Full details of the supported models can be found over on the PiNet website. As well as that, you'll need a computer to run your PiNet server on. This could be an old laptop or desktop computer. Finally, for a simple setup, the only other parts you need are an old router and some Ethernet cables. This simple setup works, but only for a small number of Raspberry Pis. Once you start adding more than a few, you quickly run out of ports on your router. For a larger setup, you're still going to need your server machine and router, but this time we will add a network switch into the setup. When wiring everything up, to guarantee the fastest and lowest latency network, have one switch be your core network switch. Everything including the server and router get plugged directly into this switch. If you need to use additional switches, simply run a single cable from them to your core network switch, making sure to use a gigabit port on both ends. Be careful though, never daisy chain switches together. Always connect each switch directly to your core switch via a gigabit port, or you may find your network will start to clog up. When selecting networking equipment, the speed is very important. For a PiNet network, your core links must be using gigabit Ethernet. This is sometimes marked as 10/100/1000. This includes your server, along with any additional switches. Note it's not essential for the Raspberry Pis themselves to be connected via gigabit Ethernet port. Fast Ethernet, also known as 10/100 megabit, is fine for them. A very commonly asked question is, can I use Wi-Fi with PiNet, using the Raspberry Pi 3's built-in Wi-Fi or a USB Wi-Fi dongle? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Wireless N, the standard built into the Pi 3 and most USB adapters, only supports around 80 to 100 megabits a second, shared between all devices. Whereas Gigabit Wired Ethernet supports over 10 times as much data, at 1000 megabits a second, shared between all devices. As well as this, the latency is much greater with Wi-Fi over Ethernet, so everything just feels sluggish. Once your hardware is set up, burn Ubuntu 16.04 Desktop Edition onto a DVD or a flash drive, and you're ready to go. Don't forget that your server must be connected to the internet for the initial setup. If at all possible, use an unfiltered internet connection for the initial installation. Internet access is not required after the PiNet server is set up, although it may be useful for updates and fixes in the future.